Betrayed by her allies, sold into slavery, and on the brink of death, a single girl reaches out for a cursed sword, knowing that it will definitely mean the end of her life, but better that she meet it on her own terms. However, fate has a slightly different plan in store. Hello everybody and welcome to another light novel review. In this video I'm going to be talking about volume number 1 of Kiki's light novel series, Roll Over and Die. I will fight for an ordinary life with my love and cursed sword. This one with illustrations by Kinta. It's released officially in English by 7 Seas with a translation by Jason Muell. If you want to pick up your own copy of this one, I'll have links in the description down below. And of course, because this channel is all about helping you find other light novels to love, if this one sounds up your alley or you've even read this one and enjoyed it, hang out till near the end of the video. I'll have a couple of other recommendations of light novel series you might want to check out. In Roll Over and Die, Flum Apricot is chosen by God to be one of the heroes of humanity to go and destroy the Demon Lord. The one catch to all of this is that Flum has a ability called Reversal, which for whatever reason means all of her stats are dead ass zero. No magic, no strength, no endurance, no fighting skills, no nothing. But if God ordains it, hey, she's gotta go along. She pretty much ends up the whole time feeling like she's just dead weight, doing everything she can to help, but ultimately in battles, just having to rely on everybody else to keep her safe. Eventually, one of the party members has just had enough and he is done with all of this, and so he actually betrays Flum and sells her off into slavery. While the slave master, Trader, when he discovers that, well, her stats are garbage, he figures she's completely worthless, and so he decides that he's just going to feed her to some ghouls for his personal entertainment. While she's in this pit with monsters, she goes to grasp a cursed sword, a sort of cruel joke that the slave trader has left there. She decides that, hey, better I die from this cursed sword, having done it myself and made my own decision, than to die in the way that this piece of garbage wants me to. However, grasping that cursed sword unlocks new possibilities for her. Possibilities that allow her to escape with another slave girl named Milkit and set off on a path to make her own future. Now, Roll Over and Die is a series that combines a number of different elements. It's a grim, dark fantasy, lots of violence, obviously slavery and cruelty between humans. It also is a horror type book, especially towards sort of the end of it. And on top of all of that, it's a Yuri novel with Flum and Milkit having a burgeoning relationship, and at the very least, Milkit is, I'm not sure whether to call her Milkit, which would be because the I's are sometimes E's in Japanese romanization, or whether it's just Milkit, which sounds just horrible. Anyway, Milkit is the inspiration for Flum to basically become stronger. And is it Flume or Flum? I'm not, again, like, you know, this is the problem when you have, like, you think about how you pronounce it in English, and then you're like, but it was written by someone in Japan, but then it was translated into English, so I don't know. Anyway, if you guys have better ideas on this, feel free to put that in the comments. Anyway, it's going to be Flum and Milkit from here on out because that's what I'm going to do. In any case, Milkit is Flum's inspiration. Because this girl has spent her entire life in slavery, she really has like no sense of self, no sense of purpose. And Flum just feels like that is so wrong. It's so horrible. And so she really has this idea that she wants to make life better for this girl, that she wants this girl to feel better about herself and to find her purpose. So it's a very sort of anti-slavery, obviously. We won't discuss what happens to the slave trader. You can read that for yourself, but I'm sure you can probably put it together. In any case, we have this relationship developing between these two girls. But then on top of it all, of course, Flum has to figure out a way in order to survive, because she's been thrown out of the party that was going after the Demon Lord. She can't go back to her home. She's actually been branded on the cheek with a slave mark, meaning that she essentially has nothing except what she can forge for herself. And so she becomes a freelance adventurer, which leads her to a whole bunch of different things as the book goes on, and the aforementioned horror more elements, which start delving into some pretty deep mysteries about the world and about perhaps Flum herself. You would think with these somewhat disparate elements of Yuri, grimdark fantasy, horror, that this could become a real hot mess, but the author does a really good job of making all of these elements blend and work seamlessly with each other. It's strongly written. The characters are engaging and likable. Even the other characters that Flum and Milkit meet along the way. So we have a very well-written book, which combines all of these elements into a pretty convincing whole, to be honest. And the character relationship between Flum and Milkit is one of the highlights of the book, because you see how these two girls are changing and growing out of their preconceived ideas about themselves. So Flum, of course, has spent her entire life being weak and having to rely on others. But now, because of her discovery, she realizes she can become strong. And so it's creating a new purpose for herself. But she realizes that just the point of becoming strong isn't enough. Having this person, this person that she can come home to, this person to protect, it gives her meaning, and it gives her purpose, and it gives her strength. On the flip side, of course, as I said, with Milkit, we have this girl who has thought really nothing about what she wants, who's pretty much killed any kind of desire in herself for a different kind of life because she just figured it would never happen. And we see her starting to open up and to grow because she finally has somebody who believes in her and who supports her. And even though she completely refuses to acknowledge Flum as anything other than her master, you can see how that relationship is changing and evolving and developing. And so it's really cool that you have this relationship between these two characters where it is mutually beneficial, and you can see the development and growth in both of them because of their relationship with each other. Also, the action sequences are well written. There's plenty of them in this book. And as I said, they are quite a variety. We have our very straight ahead, typical light novel fantasy, grab my sword, hack and slash type adventure. But we also have a little bit of that kind of trapped horror, running around the corners, not sure if the monster's going to be there kind of action as well. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff in there as well that I won't, get too deeply into because I don't want to spoil. But like I said, there's quite a bit of variety in this book. And there are enough mysteries about the world itself. Like, it starts off with a really sort of standard, like, defeat the Demon Lord kind of setup. But as the book goes along, it presents some very interesting mysteries about the world, and that perhaps the world isn't exactly as it's been presented to people. And even Flum herself, we have some hints that there might be some kind of connection between her and this altered world state that people don't realize is going on. One of the other things that I really appreciated about this book is it's told in third person, which allows the book to give us different points of view. And what I liked right at the beginning is that Flum being sold into slavery isn't the end of the story of her former teammates. In fact, we follow them a bit throughout the book, going back to them into their adventures and everything else. But what I really appreciated is that you could see how Flum's presence, even though she wasn't a great fighter, you could see how her presence was a cohesive factor for the group. You could see how her contributions, even if they weren't in battle, actually mattered and made battle better for people. It could be seen as kind of cliche, the whole like, let's make the character that appeared useless is actually super useful. I know that happens in light novels a lot. But it was so naturally done and in a way that was plausible that I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed seeing the growth even of some of those other characters as they start realizing what's going on. Overall, this was a really strong book, and I found that I enjoyed it a great deal. It was a real page-turner. As I said, lots of different varieties of action, characters that you enjoy and that you like to see their growth and you want to see where they go. All of these things pulled me along in this novel and made me really want to see where it goes. There's also like a little bit of a refreshing, cute side story at the end, which I won't discuss. But if you're kind of getting through it and you're like, whew, man, this book is like deeply violent and disturbing at times, don't worry, it at least ends on a cute note. So in any case, definitely some warnings about the violence. It is bloody and gory. However, you know what's funny and what I again think speaks to the capabilities of the author is that they're able to have those elements, but it never feels sensationalized. It never feels like so over the top that you're just like, ugh, you know, no, like all those elements makes sense in the world. All those elements make sense in the moment. And it's definitely makes sense that certain things happen because of Flum's inexperience as a fighter. So all of those things, like, as I said, don't let the grimdark part put you off. I admit when I first heard about this book and saw some people review it, like reading it and posting like, wow, this is dark. Ooh, this is super violent and stuff. I really kind of was concerned about whether I would enjoy the book. There is a threat of sexual assault, but thankfully does not happen. I know that's something that I really dislike and find uncomfortable. So I was kind of glad that that didn't full on happen. And again, it doesn't seem like the book tries to be gratuitous for no reason. It doesn't seem like the book is trying to shock you with just how horrific and terrible and awful and gross it is. But it doesn't try to sugarcoat anything either. So definitely this book, surprising in its depth of characters, surprising in the engaging amount of the story itself. Overall, like one of my really enjoyed reads this year so far. And again, kind of surprising to me because it was a book that I was intrigued by based on the variety of genres it combines, but at the same time was hesitant because I just didn't know how much I would like the grim dark aspect. And as I said, sometimes authors go a little too far and it just turns you off. But didn't happen in this book. So definitely one that I recommend if you like action, if you like adventure. As I said, the Yuri aspects really aren't overdone or hammed up all that much. It's really just about these two characters who you can tell have affection for each other and that are building each other up and that care for one another. So it doesn't seem like a gimmick per se. Easily could have been a heterosexual couple or a homosexual couple. So it's just a very natural relationship between these two characters that I really enjoyed. So overall, Roll Over and Die, it's one to check out, I would say, for sure. In this video, I want to say a special thanks to Jonathan McCabe, Drone205, FixLab.com, Ari Roof, and Sean Zipperer, and all the rest of my patrons who help me keep this channel running, keep my equipment up to date so that I can hopefully make my videos look a little better as time goes by, and also who support all of my other light novel related projects such as the Light Novel Podcast and EnglishLightNovels.com. Now I'm going to admit, kind of hard to find a grim dark fantasy horror Yuri book to recommend that's going to be exactly like Roll Over and Die. So I'm going to kind of separate some of these elements and give you 2 ideas that you might want to check out. The first one is male-centric and harem-centric and is an isekai. It is probably a more obvious choice when we're talking about characters who are betrayed, left to die, scrape their way to become super powerful, and then are basically like, F the world, I'm just getting out of this piece. That, of course, is Sareta, From Commonplace to World's Strongest. Follows character Hajime, who is summoned to this other world along with all of his classmates. He, however, is given a pretty useless ability and has lower stats than everybody else, and in a mission to the dungeon is betrayed and left for dead. Of course, he's not dead, because that would be a really crappy light novel and a very short light novel. Instead, he claws his way, making use of this lower level skill of his to the utmost of its abilities to become very powerful, and then decides that, you know what, I don't give a crap about this world or anything else. I'm finding a way home, and if I gotta tear down even the gods to do it, I'm on that. So if you're looking for that kind of like hell-bent OP main character, you know, crashing through the world and taking it on, that is one that you might want to check out. On more the Yuri horror side of things, one light novel series that I would recommend that is actually going to be getting an anime next year is Other Side Picnic. This one is about 2 girls who discover there are basically breaks in our world that lead into sort of an alternate dimension. And the things inhabiting this dimension seem to be the inspiration for a lot of our world's urban stories, like these sort of like urban nightmares and urban legends and stuff like that. And essentially the story becomes their story of exploration while also trying to find a friend who has gotten lost in this world and kind of trying to sort of unravel the mysteries of it. It was my top read the year that I read that one. It was surprising to me in so many ways because it just was unlike pretty much any other light novel that I had read at the time, and the imagery was just so vivid and so cool, and I really enjoyed the characters and their story. And it's a series that I really need to get back to because I want to see the anime. In fact, that was one of the things I said when I reviewed it. I was like, man, if you get the right studio behind this and putting together these visuals, this could be just a visual feast of a series, and I'm fingers crossing that that'll happen. But yeah, if you're looking for something that's sort of Yuri-ish, but also has like these elements of like that, they refer to it as creepypasta, you know, elements of horror and stuff like that. Definitely Other Side Picnic, something to check out. And like I said, the anime is coming out for it, so even if you don't want to read the book, keep an eye out for the anime as well. Now for my next review, I'm going to return to a series that, oh my god, it's like the only series that I am truly on the cusp of actually finishing the series. I've reviewed a lot of volumes of it and managed to kind of keep up. I'm still behind, but I'm getting there, and there's only 3 books left after this one. And that's going to be part 1 of Owari Monogatari, part of the Monogatari series from Nishio Ishin. That'll be my next review. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye for now.